Show.
Old-fashioned way, go to the VFW.
Tomorrow.
Well, let's get into our interview with Sandy.
All right, let's do.
Sandy, thanks for coming into the show. We appreciate that. And
thanks for inviting me. Appreciate that.
You know, we know you got a busy schedule, and there's a lot of things going on. Let's first of all start a little bit just to familiarize people, if they're not familiar, with MEO. Where's it located? What's it do?
Okay, MEO, in March 22nd, 1965, we officially became a nonprofit. This is the start of what's called Maui Economic Opportunity. MEO...
You don't look that old.
Can't you tell
1965?
I wasn't even born at the time. Okay, so...
I was.
And he was there in the very beginning.
That's right.
Not at MEO, but at other agencies. Anyway, so this started off with President Johnson signing the Economic Opportunity Act in 1964. This created an opportunity for the communities to really have a stake in their future. It created things like community action programs, which is what we are. It also created things like Head Start, like the Job Corps, like Legal Aid Society, different things that were basically meant to help low-income people to become self-sufficient. Right? There's different areas. Our main goal is to help people to become self-sufficient. Now, as a community action program or a community action agency, we do that in a variety of ways. We actually have 90 programs now.
Wow.
We started off with about 2 or 3. Community
awesome.
Community organizing was one of the first ones. Then we started off with our Head Start program. Then the next large program to start was our transportation system back in 1969. So we've been providing transportation in Maui County for 41 years.
I think people can identify that because they see the MEO buses all over.
Our rolling billboards.
Right.
Yeah. and what helping people, changing lives is on the back of every bus.
Yes.
Wow.
So if you see an MEO bus driving away from you, it tells you what it's all about. Right? Now, Sandy, all of this came about, as you were saying, out of the Economic Opportunity Act of 1965.
Right.
And I think it's important for people to know when you say MEO has 90 programs, these aren't programs that were given to you. You just stood in line and got a program. You had to compete for these. You had to write grants.
Right.
You had to meet certain criteria. And it's a lot of work.
The base of what we do is, what makes us a community action agency, is a grant called a Community Services Block Grant.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a formula grant that each state gets. There are over 1,100 community action agencies throughout the nation that receive these funds that make them a community action agency.
Wow.
And that core, we do have to apply for it every year, and we do also have to meet certain criteria. One of those criteria is our board setup. We have a tripartite board. There's 3 sets of groups on our board. One is the private sector. These are people that are in business, the Chamber of Commerce's, different things like that.
Okay.
The second group is the government sector. They're mandated to be either locally elected officials or their representatives.
Oh, okay.
It gives government a chance to have, local government a chance to have some control over federal money that's coming in, and it also gives them an opportunity to understand better what the low-income community's needs are.
Good.
And then the third of our board that I'm really happy about is that it's made up of the clients that we serve or their representatives.
Oh, wow.
And they have to be democratically elected by the groups that they represent to our board.
Okay.
So we're the most unique organization on
Wow,
Maui as
that's
far as the
intense.
board
That's
structure
heavy
goes.
stuff.
Well, and a lot of organizations have moved forward since '65, what have you, and they've really not stayed, or they've dropped away from having this democratically elected, part of their organization, because you're really bringing in the local people and you're really bringing in their ideas.
Yeah, it's this whole idea that they started and pushed forward called maximum feasible participation. This is the idea that to the maximum, right, to the extent possible and feasible, what's allowable, that low-income people can participate in their own success.
Wow.
So historically, what happens is if low-income people can participate in the success, they're going to be successful not just for the short term of when they get a handout or when that kind of stuff, but we're actually giving them a hand up so that they can be successful for the rest of their lives.
Now, Sandy, like President Barack Obama, I'm proud to have been, and I hope to continue to be, a community organizer. And you are a community organizer. I think you're a fine example of that. And community action is kind of an interesting kind of career path. It kind of finds you rather than you find it, because I don't think that folks knew is before you came to MEO, you were basically a computer nerd.
Well, I guess
You
the
ran the
cat's
whole
out of
MIS.
that
I mean,
now.
you did the MIS systems, and,
Gosh.
and as a matter of fact, when Sandy and I first got, I would go to him and say, "Hey, what does this mean?" He goes, "Well, you got to turn the machine on."
Yeah.
The first thing.
Press Control Alt Delete.
But I don't
No.
want to. I don't want to stay on that because we have some limited time. But I do know that you and the other nonprofits are involved in some pretty serious stuff right now, and I'd like to
Yeah.
give you an opportunity to talk about the challenges you're facing with these huge cutbacks
Sure.
that may occur in your budgets this year.
Sure. All levels of government are dealing with recession. They're dealing with a very difficult time of being able to balance their budgets. Looking at, of course, they get one side looking at it saying, we're tea parties and we don't want any more taxes taken out of our paychecks. And then you look at the other side of what truly government is built for. It's built for society. It's built for people in general so that they can be able to have public welfare.
And offer services.
Yeah,